You know that feeling, right? That knot that ties itself in your stomach when you're just waiting for an answer? Turns out there's a really deep, hardwired reason for that. So let's get into it and unpack why our brains seem to have this powerful, frankly stressful aversion to the unknown.
It just feels completely backward, doesn't it? I mean, shouldn't we be more afraid of a bad outcome? But think about it. That period of not knowing, waiting for that text back or the email from your boss or a doctor's call, that limbo feels so much worse than just getting the bad news and being able to deal with it. So what on earth is going on there? And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. Our brains are absolutely desperate for closure. See, a known negative, even a bad one, lets us start processing, start adapting, start planning what to do next. But an unknown, an open loop of silence, that just keeps our mental engine revving and our alarm bells ringing. That's the mystery we're going to solve.
Okay, so to start cracking this case, we have to look at this fascinating little quirk in how we make choices. It's a really well-documented tendency that shows just how badly we prefer a sure thing, even when it makes no logical sense at all. And here it is, our first major piece of evidence. It's called the ambiguity effect. Now that sounds fancy, but it's just a formal way of saying we are suckers for certainty. When we're faced with a choice, we almost always gravitate towards the option where we know the odds, even if an option with unknown odds could actually be way better for us. To really get a feel for this, let's play a quick game. Imagine we have two buckets, both have 30 balls inside. We know for a fact that in each bucket, 10 balls are red. The other 20 are some mix of black and white, but we don't know the exact ratio. Now, for option X, you win $100 if you pull out a red ball. Pretty straightforward. For option Y, you win the same $100, but you have to pull out a black ball. So take a second. Which one does your gut scream at you to pick? Option X, where you know your chances are exactly 10 out of 30. Or option Y, where the number of winning black balls could be anything from 0 to 20. If you picked X, you are with the vast majority of people. And this is what's so wild, because mathematically, the odds for Y are also 1 in 3 on average. But our brain doesn't care. Because we don't know the exact number of black balls, our brain flags that whole option as ambiguous, as dangerous. We will literally take a known quantity over a potentially better but unknown one. So we've seen what our brains do. Now it's time to pop the hood and understand why. Let's get into the neurobiology of it and see what's actually firing inside our heads. This is probably the most important thing to understand about your brain. It is not a reaction machine. It is a prediction machine. Its number one job all day, every day, is to build models of the world and guess what's going to happen next. It does this to reduce surprise, to reduce uncertainty, and ultimately, to keep you alive.
So what happens when the brain can't predict? Well, it's kind of like a computer program getting stuck in an infinite loop. It can't build a stable forecast, so it defaults to its most basic setting, stay safe at all costs. And that means keeping the alarm bells ringing, constantly scanning for danger, which, as you can imagine, burns a ton of mental energy. It's exhausting. And this is what that high alert state actually looks like inside your head. It's pretty dramatic. When we're faced with uncertainty, our limbic system, that's the emotional, instinctual part of our brain, home of the amygdala, it just goes into overdrive. It becomes hyperactive. At the exact same time, our prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational, executive part of our brain, it quiets right down. So in short, uncertainty basically puts your fear center in the driver's seat and tells your rational brain to shut up and take a nap. Now, this might all seem like a terrible design flaw, right? But it's not. This intense, almost allergic reaction to the unknown has a deep evolutionary origin story. It's a feature, not a bug, one that was absolutely essential for our survival.
I mean, for hundreds of thousands of years, the world was an incredibly dangerous place. An uncertain situation was very often a deadly one. So the brains that were wired to treat the unknown as a potential threat were, simply put, the brains that survived to pass on their genes. Just think about the kinds of uncertainties our ancestors were dealing with. They were immediate. They were life or death. Is that rustle in the bushes a rabbit or a saber-toothed tiger? Is this new berry edible or poisonous? Hesitating was a terrible survival strategy. So the brain that automatically assumed the worst, the one that treated all uncertainty as a potential threat, was the brain that kept its owner alive.
Okay, so this brings us right up to the present day, and to the absolute core of our modern problem. We are essentially running ancient survival software on some very modern hardware in a world that software was never designed for.
Yeah, our brain's alarm system, is still tuned to react to immediate physical threats, like a predator jumping out of the bushes. But the world we live in now, it's filled with these abstract, psychological, long-term uncertainties that just keep that alarm ringing and ringing and ringing.
That rustle in the grass has been replaced by the ping of an unknown work email late at night. The threat of a predator has been replaced by anxiety over our career paths, or the constant 24/7 fire hose of alarming global news. These modern stressors trigger the exact same ancient high-alert response. But, unlike a tiger, they often never fully go away, which leaves us stuck in this state of chronic low-grade panic.
So, after looking at the psychology, the neuroscience, and the deep history of this whole thing, what's the big takeaway? What are we supposed to do with all this? This is it. This is the whole ballgame. That anxiety you feel when you're waiting, when you don't know what's going to happen, it is not a sign that you're weak or broken. It's a sign that your brain is doing precisely what it evolved to do: protect you from the unknown. The only problem is that the unknown has changed from a potential predator to a constant stream of unresolved digital and social question marks.
And that really leaves us with this final, massive thought to chew on. Understanding this evolutionary mismatch is a huge first step. But it also raises a much bigger question for all of us, doesn't it? If our brains are hardwired for a world that's long gone, how in the world do we learn to navigate a future it was never ever designed for?